as well. And we are now live on YouTube on the 360 Wrestling Podcast channel. And of course, on Spreaker as well. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in who is tuning in on YouTube right now. I already said this on Spreaker, but I hope everyone had a great Sunday today, as well as I also hope everyone enjoyed all of the pro wrestling action from last night. Gonna be talking about last night's TNA Genesis pay-per-view, AEW Collision, and last night's AAA show. And without any further ado or wasting any more time, let's get into episode 680 of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. And first things first, going to be talking about TNA Genesis. As I said, the first TNA pay-per-view in the TNA on AMC era. And sorry about that. Last night's TNA Genesis pay-per-view was live in Garland, Texas, just outside of Dallas. Our commentators, or first, I should say, was live at the Curtis Caldwell Center. Our commentators for the evening, Tom Hannafin and the Drama King Matthew Raywalt. But before the main pay-per-view got kicked off was the countdown to TNA Genesis, and our countdown panel was Mean Gia Miller, Busted Opens, Dave LaGreca, and Tommy Dreamer, and Ash by Elegance. It was the usual countdown pre-show panel. Not bad though. And the in-ring action started with a four-way match for the TNA International Championship. Channing Stacks Lorenzo with Ariana Grace in his corner, defending against Eric Young, BDE, KJ Orso, the former Fuego del Sol, and Tom Hannafin brought up on commentary how, of course, El Fuego del Sol was in TNA in the past. Not a bad match here. I wouldn't say nothing real special, but Ariana Grace gets involved and Stacks picks up the win, 6 minutes 23 seconds to retain the TNA International Championship. Also, Tessa Blanchard and Mila Moore with Robert Stone and Victoria Crawford in their corner defeated the team of Indy Hartwell and Vicious Vicky, who we have seen a little bit of in the past. 7 minutes, 35 seconds for that match. And now on to the main pay-per-view card. And first, we have AJ Francis taking on Rich Swann, the team formerly known as First Class. And let me say, Francis and Swann both good in the ring. I was expecting that might be a pretty good match, but in my opinion anyway, I think it over-delivered, and the crowd did help with their reaction during this match. I would say they helped, and at one point, Rich Swann hitting the Styles Clash AJ Francis. Of course, the AJ hitting the Styles Clash on Rich Swann. Swann kicks out and then hits a Canadian Destroyer. Shades of one of the all-time X Division greats, Maple Leaf Muscle P.D. Williams. Francis kicks out of that. Go on for a few more minutes, and AJ Francis gets the win. 12 minutes, 19 seconds. Like I said, good match, and honestly, better than I thought it was going to be, actually. So I'll give this one 4 out of 5 ring bells. And Mustafa Ali, along with Order 4 in his corner, against Elijah. Not a bad match. Of course, Order 4 gets involved, interferes a little bit. And referee Alice Lane goes to the floor and ejects him from ringside. And we see everybody except for Tasha Steelz, who sneaks in with the guitar. Elijah is able to counter that, though, but Ali picks up the guitar, hits him in the back with it, and gets the win at 9 minutes, 35 seconds. And this match wasn't too bad. I'll give it 3.5 out of 5 ring bells. And we have the final dance. JDC Johnny Dango Curtis taking on his good friend, brother Eddie Edwards, in his final match. And we've seen a little bit of dancing, of course, the Fandango. And fun match, I thought. And is Eddie Edwards getting the win in this one, which, to be honest, I'm not really all that surprised to see JDC lose his final match to his brother Eddie Edwards. And pretty good match, I thought, though. Like I said, Eddie Edwards got the win, 17 minutes, 16 seconds. And then after, JDC had a moment in the ring. It was good to see. Don't know if I would say he's really one of the biggest stars in the history of pro wrestling, but he did have a pretty good run at one time. WWE, of course, defeating Chris Jericho at WrestleMania. And I've been a fan of his work, to be honest. And I thought he had a pretty good run in TNA. And next up, the Hollywood hunk Ryan Nemeth in action in an intergender match, taking on Mara Sharday. This one was more kind of a comedy kind of match, but it is Ryan Nemeth using the bottom rope to get the win, defeating Mara Sharday. Not bad match. I'll give this one, though, just 3 out of 5 ring bells. And next up, the TNA Knockouts World Championship on the line as Li Ying Lee, who is supposed to originally defend against Danny Luna, find out that there are some visa issues, and unfortunately, Danny Luna not able to make Genesis last night. So she took on Zarya from NXT with Solruka in her corner. Also, we had Zaya Brookside in the corner of Yiling Yi. Fun match, I thought. And to be honest, actually better than I expected. Both of these, in my opinion, worked a very good match, I thought. And at one point, we do have the Elegance brand come out, try to get involved. But then Zaya Brookside and Solruka actually kind of team up, work together a little bit to get the Elegance brand out of there to the back. And then it's one-on-one. And Li Ying Lee gets the win, defeating Zarya 14 minutes, 23 seconds to retain the TNA Knockouts World Championship at 14 minutes, 23 seconds. And then after the match, there is a show of respect. I enjoyed the match. That was pretty good. I'll give it 4 out of 5 ring bells. And next, the TNA World Tag Team Championships are defended. Matt and Jeff, the Hardys, defending against the Righteous, Vincent and Dutch. Pretty good match. I wouldn't say quite as good as I expected, but I'm sure we're going to see another match in the future. The Hardys get to win 12 minutes, 40 seconds to retain the TNA World Tag Team Championships. And to be honest, I would not be surprised if we see some kind of broken Hardy, broken universe cinematic match between the Hardys and the Righteous. Can only imagine what Jeff Hardy can come up with is, like he would say, imagination. But I wouldn't be surprised if this feud does continue. Next up, we have a 3-way match, which actually was originally supposed to be for the TNA X Division Championship. But more visa issues, Leon Slater not able to attend Genesis. Of course, SmackDown happened to be in London, allowing him to appear. Excuse me, but not able to attend Genesis. So taking the place of Leon Slater in this three-way match was Joe Hendry, making his return to TNA since after signing with WWE and debuting on NXT. He's going up against Cedric Alexander and Moose. Good match. I thought fun match that I enjoyed. And Joe Hendry got the win 15 minutes, 21 seconds, pinning Cedric Alexander. Like I said, was a fun match. That's not the problem. But if I do actually have a problem with it, it was who won. And it's not that I have anything against Joe Hendry. Of course not. Big fan of Joe Hendry. But the problem that I do have with it is they're setting up Cedric Alexander and Moose to be challengers for the TNA X Division Championship when Leon Slater is able to return. And then you have Joe Hendry come and get the win. Wasn't the right call, in my opinion. God, like I said, those are the ones who are staying in the company, sticking around, challenging for the championship. You should make them look strong, them look good. And I don't know if part of this was just, WWE didn't want Joe Hendry to lose. Who knows? But still, then just don't have him get pinned. Have Cedric Alexander pin Moose. Have Moose pin Cedric Alexander. Either way, just having Alexander or Moose now win the match, in my opinion, that was the wrong call. But just kind of forgetting about all that. Good match. I'll give it a 4 out of 10. If I wasn't thinking about and focused on that as much, I definitely and just watched the match, not thinking about not Leon Slater not being there, the Action Championship, and just watched the match. And I definitely would have enjoyed it more. The main event of TNA Genesis 2026 for the TNA World Championship. The new TNA World Champion Mike Santana defending against Frankie Kazarian in a Texas death match for the TNA World Championship, and Nick Nemeth serving as the special referee. And first, I want to say there's been a lot of criticism, and even I said the other night, the debut of Thursday Night Impact on AMC, I wouldn't say it was the best episode of Impact of all time, but I didn't think it was as bad as a lot of people said. I think a lot of people online on the internet, whether podcasts or videos on YouTube, whatever, I think they were a little too tough on TNA. Again, was it the best wrestling TV show ever? No. But I didn't think it was that bad. I didn't think it, like I said, I think people were too tough on it. It wasn't as bad as some people I've seen online say. I'm not going to mention any, but I think there were some that were too tough on it and were unfair and were mean to TNA. And I don't think that's right. And I'm definitely looking forward to next week's episode live from Albuquerque. And with that being said, one thing, yes, I do actually kind of agree with being a little disappointed about. You still don't have to be mean and tough on TNA like some of them have, but I would say setting up the stipulation of the main event for Genesis after Impact went off the air, that was a mistake. They should have already had that announced. And during Impact, they did actually announce that there would be a rematch. But then after Impact went off the air, TNA Director of Authority Santino Marella made his way to ringside and made it, since we're in Texas, death match. And Daria made her way out and said that she's making Nick Nemeth the special referee. Very good match, though. Great main event. Big fan of Santana and Frankie Kazarian. And Mike Santana gets the win. 19 minutes, 13 seconds to successfully retain the TNA World Championship. Like I said, pretty good main event. Overall, I'll give it, I'm sure a lot of people are probably going to disagree with me because you know how some of the wrestling fans on the internet are. If you have any thoughts or opinions that are different than theirs, you're wrong. You're a bad person, because that's how all they do is complain. They watch wrestling not because they like it, not because they're a fan of it, because they like to go online and complain about everything. That's what they do. Not all wrestling fans on the internet, I don't want to say that, but there are definitely some of them that only watch pro wrestling so they can go online and complain because they think their stupid little opinions matter. And who knows, there might be some of the people like that listening to this episode right now, and I don't care. That's what some of them do. All they do is complain and just watch wrestling just to complain about it because they're little idiots. Sorry, didn't mean to get upset and go on a little rant there. I apologize. Overall, what I was trying to say before I got started on all of that and kind of lost control a little bit. I'll give it 8.5 out of 10. Like I said, probably going to be some people complaining, saying, you're wrong. You only have 3 or a 2.5, 2/4, 2 inches, whatever stars. But like I said, that's just how some people are. Always complaining about everything. You can never make them happy. And that's not all for this episode 678 of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. AEW Collision was last night on TNT and HBO Max. taped on Wednesday night from Phoenix, Arizona. Our commentators for the evening, Tony Schiavone, Nigel McGuinness. We had Andrade El Idolo representing the Don Callis family, defeating Angelico. Tag team action, Eddie Kingston and Ortiz defeat the grizzled young veterans, James Drake and Zach Gibson, making her in-ring debut with the Fallen Angel Christopher Daniels. Zeta Steel in action against Marina Shafir. Shafir gets the win via submission. And on the match, Don Callis is on commentary. And Don Callis comes out with it, the Don Callis family, as we have a trios match. Kyle Fletcher, the Walking Weapon, Josh Alexander, and El Clone defeat Skyfight, Top Flight, Dante, and Darius Martin and Scorpio Sky. Women's tag team action, Megan Bain and Penelope Ford defeat Danielle, Camilla, and Viva Van. And then after we see Timeless Tony Storm and Mina Shirakawa. Jungle Jack Perry defeated the Pride of Pro Wrestling, Anthony Bowens, to the number one contender for the AEW National Championship. And at this time, the AEW National Champion Ricochet joins Tony Schiavone and Nigel McGuinness on commentary. And also Hangman Adam Page and Jet Speed Kevin Knight and Speedball Mike Bailey defeat the Ops, Samoa Joe, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Katsuyori Shibata in a trios match to become the new AEW World Trios Tag Team Champions. And pretty good match, but I'm sure that by now everybody knows the news. Looks like Powerhouse Hobbs going to WWE after his AEW exit. So not really a surprise that the Ops have dropped the trios titles. And now on to another show that took place last night, AAA. And we see Rey Mysterio start the show, cuts a promo. Then we have a trios match. Daniel Hamburgers and La Parka and Mr. Iguana defeat the team of Abismo Negro, Taurus, and Hysteria. In a non-title match, AAA Reina de Reinas champion Flammer defeated Lady Shanae. AAA Mega Championship number one contenders match, El Hijo del Vikingo defeated El Grande Americano. Omos getting involved. And that was the first episode of AAA on Fox Latin America, I think it is. But here in the United States, you can watch on YouTube. And that is all for 360 Wrestling Fanatic 680. Let me know your thoughts and your opinions on TNA Genesis, AEW Collision, and AAA TV right here on Spreaker or wherever you listen to 360 Wrestling podcasts. If the website or the app you listen to on has a comment section, and since we are live on YouTube right now, in the comment section on YouTube, of course, nice, friendly comments only, please. No rude comments, though, please. Or if you don't want to do that, you can always email me 360 Wrestling Podcasts at gmail.com. Or if you want to, you can even follow me on the social media on X at 360 Wrestling Pod and on Instagram at 360 Wrestling Podcasts. I'll be back tomorrow for the Monday morning episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic as I preview tomorrow's Monday afternoon Raw live from Belfast, Ireland. I appreciate everyone who listens. Thank you and God bless you. And until tomorrow morning, have a great. Sorry, I keep forgetting what podcast I'm doing. I don't know why. Maybe since I talk about GMWF tomorrow. God bless everyone. And have a great pro. There I go again. I'm so stupid. I'm sorry. I am Lance, and I am a wrestling fanatic.